Hey guys, it's Brandon, aka B.Rich Beauty, aka your beauty best friend. Happy Monday, y'all! We're talking reality. Yes, Love and Marriage Huntsville Part 2, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and more. So, you know what to do. Grab your beverage. Let go. Hey, y'all. I know. Jeremy, wherefore art thou, Jeremy? Well, sugar, Jeremy was a no call, no show today. No, I'm just joking. He's going to kill me. Jeremy did call out of work today. However, for a good reason, his 9 to 5, the job that really pays the bill, child, he had a work function today. So I said, Jeremy, I'm going to miss you today, but the show, what must go on? So we're gonna cheers to you, Jeremy. Can't wait to see you next week. In the meantime, can we talk, y'all? First of all, did y'all watch the Love and Marriage Huntsville Part 2 reunion? Baby, this has to be one of the better reunions for reality TV I've seen in a very long time. And I think a lot of it has to do with Carlos King. Side note, y'all know I'm not home. I'm in DC, right? So I've hijacked my best friend's office. So y'all might see all types of like family things. It's not me. I ain't hugged up with nobody. I ain't hugged up with nobody. That ain't my man. Anyways, so I love the fact that we left off last week with Carlos asking Martel if he had met the side piece, the coleslaw, the chicken nugget, the baby mama before he met Mel, if he would have married her instead of Mel. And I thought was quite interesting, aside from the long, deafening silence, the uncomfortable silence that came from Martel not saying anything, is the fact that you can visibly see Marceau or Maurice getting uncomfortable. And the women are just sitting there like, is he going to say anything? So much so that Marceau says no. And Melody's like, don't speak on his behalf. Like, let him speak. And you know what they say? Sometimes it's not about what you say, it's about what you don't say. And what Martel opted to do was to plead the fifth, honey. And in that moment to me, that's implicating yourself. To me, that's saying I'm guilty. To me, that's saying I probably would have married her instead of Mel if I met her first. Because all Martel had to do was say yes or no, but he chose to remain silent. So my question to y'all beauty besties is, did he take the chicken route out by remaining silent, or should he have said yes or no? Now, I will also say this. The fact that Martel did not say anything tells me that he is the biggest narcissist ever. And I really at this point want to know what people see in Martel, like from a romantic standpoint, because now that he's divorced, can Martel officially go back out into these streets? Because we don't even know if he's still with the baby mama now, because he never wants to talk about the baby mama, child. You drag Mel all through the drama of the baby mama and got all of us emotionally involved in the baby mama drama, but yet he never wants to talk about the baby mama. Now, is he attractive? He says he doesn't like mouthy women. It's very much this machismo type of mentality. Outside of the physical attributes of Martel, is he even attractive anymore? Because to me, he's just so toxic. Hey, Sharisha. Hey, beauty bestie. You're so beautiful. I want your complexion. Oh, thank you, sugar. Let me tell you something. This complexion is a little bit of everything, honey. It's water. It is minding my business, other people's business, and lots of good skincare. And, a good old concealer, powder, and foundation every now and then. So I appreciate that. Now, if you don't know, your beauty best friend has a whole skincare playlist on this here YouTube channel. So if you want some advice with your skin and your complexion, check that out as well. Now, aside from Martel being a narcissist, and the question on the table, also is he even dateable anymore? We see that, Carlos actually tried to give him a little bit of a helping hand. I felt like Carlos did say, like, if I'm, speaking on behalf of you, I apologize, shut me down. But he's like, I believe you really tried to make it work. I don't think Martell tried to make it work, because in the words of Mel, if he really wanted to make it work, he would have chosen. He did choose. He chose to cheat, but he wanted to do both. He wanted to cheat on Mel and have Mel at home popping out babies. Now I'm gonna also say this, because Mel says she didn't know that he was actively cheating. I feel like there's a level of intuition, whether you are, just as long as you're a spouse, that lets you know something ain't right in the water. And so my question to y'all, and I was having this debate the other day, is did we feel like Mel slightly knew that he was cheating, but for the sake of getting on the show, for the sake of being, the united front, because we know in the beginning they were all about having united fronts. Do we feel like she overlooked it and tolerated it longer to the point where she couldn't anymore, because as their celebrity status was growing, it just became embarrassing left and right? Very much so, like Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian, they're mega superstars, and every time Khloe thinks she can go, I want to run to you. Every single time that she feels like she can go back to Tristan, and he says his baby, baby, please, and my shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I'm so sorry, it'll never happen again. And then we wind up with Tristan impregnating somebody else. He got a whole nother baby coming, and now we got all these allegations coming out. Do you feel like it was something similar from Mel and Martell? Did Mel suspect, but because of them trying to grow their celebrity brand and being on the show, did she look a blind eye and tolerate it? Because I feel like, and also Mel did say Martell is very good at words. I can absolutely see it. Martell could sell an Martell can sell an Eskimo ice, and he probably can sing the panties off of anybody on any given day, honey. Like a cat on a hot tin roof, Martell can make you lay it low and spread it wide. Now, because of that, though, she says, I would not have stayed with him as long if I know that, let alone have a baby. But I feel like there's an element that Melody did know, but she accepted it. So Sharisha is saying, hell yes. So you feel like she knew. I feel like she tolerated a lot longer, to the point where she couldn't anymore, and to a point where, Mel, being a smart woman, says, I am going to get myself into a position where I don't need him, and then I'm going to say, get out. I'm done with you and everything else that comes your way. And we see that Mel had a very transparent moment in her dressing room during their lunch breaks, when she's talking to her glam squad and her mom, and she's saying, everybody knows I hate it here, but I can't leave because of the custody and the children and everything else. And so, as much as I'm growing to dislike Martell, he does seem to be a good father. And I ain't got nobody's child, y'all, so I'm assuming it becomes all type of murky and just all types of crazy when you're trying to go through a divorce and try to figure out, guardianship and custody and all that other great jazz. But all right, so let's move on. Oh, really quickly, because they also talked about, Marceau said he had been in the same space with Martell and the mistress, and Maurice acted dumb, honey. Maurice acted as blonde as the sun, as bright as his complexion. Maurice was like, never been there. And Kimmy, like Kimmy said, she goes, I feel some kind of way that if you were in that space, you wouldn't say anything. Now, here's my first thought. I think the guys are absolutely, honoring guy code, because if you're honoring guy code just the same way as you're honoring girl code, if they had experienced Martell with the mistress, were we really expecting them to run back home to their wives to say, I met the mistress tonight, knowing that if they had any type of slight friendship, the wives would absolutely call Mel up and be like, he's out here in these streets. Now, I want to know, because they also made it sound like this was just such a random occurrence. How is it random that she pulls up on a boys' trip while they're in Atlanta? Not these Huntsville streets, not that she just happened to pop in to Black or the Ruby Tuesdays or wherever else is popping in Huntsville and just discovered that the guys are out and about, but they ran into her in Atlanta. You're not going to tell me That was not done on purpose. Y'all know Marceau behind, no, excuse me, Martell. Y'all know Martell's behind, flew her out to Atlanta, put her up in a hotel, and was like, oh, we're going to be here. Stop on by. You're not going to convince me otherwise, because that's the biggest coincidence, if any, if he did not do that. And if he was really like rocking with her the way they said that he was rocking with her, bought her a BMW and all this other great jazz, she knew exactly where they were. He told them where they're going to be for that day, and she casually stopped by. That's like, you got a little sneaky link, and he gonna be here and there, and you just happen to show up and be like, oh my God, we're in the same restaurant, but I can see you over there with your boys. Hi, I'm the side piece, by the way. Nice to meet you. I don't believe that it was a coincidence. So the question goes back again is, did the guys honor guy code by not telling their wives that they'd met her? And or should they have told their wives, hey, bae, would this have been pillow talk? Hey, bae, guess who I met today? Haha. Martell's side piece, the coleslaw. Okay. Hey, beauty besties. Thank you guys for coming in. Y'all know I'm flying solo dolo today without the one and only Jeremy McSham, honey, but we're still having a party, and we're talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville Part 2 reunion, and we're going to talk about Salt Lake City today as well. So let's move on into Destiny. I'm going to tell y'all something. Destiny looked good. She looked great, in fact, but I have an issue with Destiny's storyline and her presentation of self on that couch with Carlos. Destiny set up here this season, got herself a whole Huntsville full-time role, and did not want to talk to us about her marriage and her divorce. And Carlos addressed it like, you were very cloak and dagger about this, and her excuse, I'm still not even happy with. You signed up for a reality show, sis. The same way that we see Melody and Martell's drama playing out over here to the left, and the same way that we see Tisha and Marceau's dysfunctional marriage, no matter how long they've been together, play out over here to the right. Girl, you're new. We want to know what's going on in your life. Tell us why y'all got divorced. And she still didn't tell us. And she hid it behind the fact that she was hoping they can work it out, and she didn't want to do more damage than good, essentially, which is the reason why we didn't know why they broke up, why they're being divorced. But the real tea is, LeBaric, how you file for divorce 3 weeks after this woman has pushed out a whole human that's half your DNA. Now, to me, that's some crazy ish. What are your thoughts here, beauty besties? Jump into the comments. I need y'all. Is LeBaric in the wrong for filing for divorce 3 weeks after Destiny gave birth? Baby. What we got in the comments over here? Hey, Savvy 411RN. Hey, Sugar. Hey, Beauty Bestie. Come on in. So the questions on the table, was LeBaric in the wrong? Did Destiny owe us more commentary this season? Because I'm going to tell you one thing. If Destiny drags her and her beauty supply store back on next season with a full-time position and does not give us an inkling of a storyline outside of being mad at Mel, she got to go. And like Carlos says, Huntsville people don't like new people. They petition apparently for Destiny to be fired when she joined the show too. If she joins next season without anything, she deserves to be fired, because guess what, sis? We're here to see Love and Marriage Huntsville. So what is life looking like for you? You've already told us that you're dating. So are we going to see more dating, Destiny? She don't want to fool around with Jalen, which, side eye, I'm sure Kimmy was like, girl, I am not trying to have to whoop you and take you to the streets, because Kimmy's like, don't let this professional RN fool you, honey. I got a little screet up in me. So Destiny is dating. She's open to dating. But you know what I also want to say about Destiny? Because Marceau and his toxic behavior said that, Destiny has a little, and she says, I have big D energy. Destiny said, when can a man pull the woman out of me? I thought that was deep. And so my question to y'all, all my female beauty besties, y'all feel like that? Y'all feel like y'all in this alone? Y'all feel like there's no way that I actually can rise up and be the man that you need in your life? What is happening in these streets? Sounds a bit cold-hearted. I agree. 3 weeks after he filed. And what we kind of gathered was the fact that the relationship already had issues because she didn't want to take his last name. So, he knew that going forward. She moved to Huntsville. They were living together. They got married. She had a baby by this man. Have a baby by me, baby, and not be a millionaire. Have a baby by me, baby, and have heartbreak, right? And 3 weeks later, he files for divorce. That's a dirty SO somebody, okay? And again, like, how do you enter a new relationship and tell your girlfriend, your new person that you're courting, LaBeric, that I divorced my wife 3 weeks after she gave birth for X, Y, and Z? I don't know. So, are we here for Destiny for next season? Because I'm gonna tell you who I'm really not. I'm still on the fence for and with, and it's Tiffany and Lewis. Ciao. Actually, you know what? Before I jump into them and rip them apart, Tiffany looked beautiful. Her makeup was pretty. Her skin looked really beautiful. She looked almost airbrush. Her dress was nice. Her hair was professionally styled. She actually spent the money to show up for a reunion, which I was like, finally, you show up for something looking like you on television. Thanks, sis. But, and I can do without, Lewis Men's Warehouse suit. No tea, no shade to Men's Warehouse or K&G or anywhere you find your finest suits, the Burlington. But for me, I have an expectation if you're sitting up on a stage in California in a reunion on reality TV, so I need you not to be wearing off the rack. Because low key, high key, middle key, and off key, Maurice was wearing off the rack as well with that gray suit and black trimmed lapel. Okay. The guys that really showed up best for me, Toxic Martel, Marceau, and obviously Carlos King looked amazing. So I digress. People petitioned for Lewis and Tiffany to be off the show. I agree. They were boring, and she's messy. And not only is she messy, but she's one of those messy friends that you got to watch because they'll be messy and not even think that and try to cloak it into, oh, I wasn't intending to be messy. But what I think was also interesting is the fact that, and I agree with Tiffany because Tisha has been after them trying to get all this information from them, but that's not how a relationship works. I want somebody who I just met tell me, hi, I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. So tell me all the tea about you. Excuse me? How about you sit here and have a conversation with me like a grown adult? How about you sit here and we go out for cocktails and we just talk about life in general? Like, who says, I want to know what's going on with you? Tell me why your first marriage failed. Is this an interrogation or a conversation or a friendship that we're building here? Because it sounds like you're interrogating me. And if you're interrogating me, one, I'm going to shut down. And two, you're not entitled to anything in my life if you're going to approach me that way. And so I feel like that is where Tisha lost the battle in this case, because you can't ask to get to know somebody and say, well, I don't know you. You're new in the group and X, Y, and Z. What have you done to genuinely get to know Tiffany, Tisha, while you're looking up like a whole glitter bomb has exploded on your face? And there was a comment last week that said it looked like if Fendi glitter bomb could have a sound effect, it would be Tisha because it was all over her face. So I thank you for that. Yes, don't forget to click the like button and share the live too, sugar. Now, outside of Tiffany and Lewis, let's talk Marceau and Tisha. Now, I will say this. Y'all know we haven't had a reunion in 2 years. And so the first reunion, Marceau was perched, tight-lipped, and uncomfortable on that couch. This reunion, Marceau said, I don't know what's in this Henny and this beverage and this sweet chocolate bottle of champagne, but I'm coming with all the facts, the receipts, and the opinions this season. Whereas Tisha is sitting here quiet as a church mouse. Has anybody else noticed Marceau has all the opinions and literally went hard on Lewis and Tiffany, saying that y'all can't offer nobody advice except advice on divorce because your first marriages for both of y'all failed? But like, when did Marceau become so aligned and started vibrating so high? Because, sir, you won't even go to therapy. Your wife doesn't even know how to communicate with you. But now all of a sudden you're on this whole reunion couch coming after the new group, the new couple with all this advice. Really, Marcel? Hey, Lundy. Oh, hey, cousin. So, and thank you. Share and like the video. Make sure you bring all your beauty besties into this room as well. I love when my fam supports. Thank you, thank you, thank you, cousin, for joining me today. Now, we see for part three, because I'm gonna get ready to move on. For part three, we got just the females on the stage. And baby, y'all know we've been waiting for Wanda J. Blige, Messy Wanda, to come on this stage with her shake and go wig and her glittery eye and give us the business. And Miss Vanessa, looking like she a whole first lady, is on the stage too. So I can't wait to see the mamas go at it, because you know Miss Vanessa's going to try to give you all types of polite, Southern belle, and Miss Wanda is about to drag us to the Southern streets. And so I can't wait to see what Wanda's going to bring, Miss Vanessa's going to bring, and what's going to happen with all the ladies once they're up on the stage. So Carlos King, part 2 was great, but I know part 3 is about to be epic, baby. And on that note, guys, let's transition into Salt Lake City. Let me take a sip. Y'all got your beverages? Y'all sipping with me? And if you're sipping with me, what you sipping on, sugar? What you got in your cup over there? Put it in the chat. So, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I decided because Jeremy wasn't going to be here, I wasn't going to taunt him with Portia Family Matters. And I was like, I'm going to take a break from Portia this week. But I got to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. First, Jen has a new phone. And so she started calling all the kids, honey, with her new numbers. And the only person that had picked up the phone and agreed to meet with her right out the gate was Miss Heather. Y'all know I love Miss Heather for a couple of different reasons. Thank you, Siri. I agree. We love Miss Heather for a couple of different reasons. Heather one will cry, you're not my friend, X, Y, and Z, you've done this. And at any given moment, drop of the dime, Jen shock and say, Heather, I need you. And Heather is 100%, I'll be there. Secretly, Heather really shows up for the tea, child. Heather is like, I need to know what's going on, child, because you had Homeland Security and the FBI show up on our group trip at the bus. No, ma'am, I need the firsthand tea. So we see Jen and Heather go meet for lunch. But you know what I think about Jen right now, besides her, alleged crimes, and we're going to talk about Jen deeper in a moment, is the fact that Jen had the nerve to say about her true friends and how they showed up for her. Girl, you are a horrible friend to the rest of this cast. You have taunted Meredith. You have taunted Whitney. You've taunted Heather. And you've thrown things, you've been verbally abusive, you've accused and outed people's children, and yet you want people to drop everything and show up for you at the drop of a dime because you got a new number? Girl, bye. Your true friends are the ones over here from the sideline trying to make sure they don't get indicted either. So I'm like trying to figure out, sis, you can't have it both ways. You can't be Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde at the same time. You can't go off on folks from one moment and then expect people to show up on you for you on the next moment. That's not how any of this works. I agree. Jen is full of it, and she didn't she treat Heather so bad? Which I am now also inclined to think there's Heather just a glutton for abuse, child, and or Heather suffers from that. I think Heather really suffers from that mentality of wanting to be liked at any given cost, which means at times you're sacrificing yourself just to be in alignment. But what I thought was funny was Jen was describing the situation of like Sharif's number rang. She thought it was Sharif. Somebody said that, he was in the hospital. She got ready to leave. She got back in the car. And then a couple of minutes later, a white minivan pulled up in a black SUV and she thought she was going to be kidnapped. Please, sis, who's kidnapping you? I just want to know. This is not Law and Order SVU. This is not some kind of crossing the border and about to be like organ harvested. You're in Salt Lake City, Utah. Who is kidnapping people in Salt Lake City, Utah? Is that a thing? Does Salt Lake City, Utah have some kind of unspoken crime ring? Are the Mormons gathering up folks and selling them off into sex slavery or something? Like, ma'am, who was about to kidnap you? And on top of that, they take her to a detention center, a holding center, and she's like, they handcuffed me to the chair, and I didn't know what to do. Heather says, call your did you call your lawyer? I didn't think I needed to call a lawyer. Here's where we know you're lying. Here's where I have an issue. You're going to tell me if you're so petrified that one, Sharif was in a hospital, two, a white SUV, a white minivan, and a black SUV pull over and they take you to a detention center, and one of your wrists is handcuffed to a chair. Nothing in your essence, in your core, in your spirit. The Holy Spirit didn't say, call a lawyer. Did your logic not tell you to call somebody to help you? But because you're resting in your innocence, you feel like you don't need to call a lawyer? Girl, there's tons of people that are innocent, accused for things all day and all night. And guess how they make sure they're innocent? By calling their lawyer. What the hell, Jen? I don't even get it. I don't. Okay, let me drop into these comments real quick. What you saying, Amanda? Over? Yes, she did. Heather likes drama, but at least she can say that she got the Jen side straight from there. Absolutely. Sometimes you got to go straight to the horse for the water, no matter how much Botox the horse has in her face. It can't shed one real tear out of her tear ducts. What else? Okay, who doesn't know that they need to call a lawyer when you're hanging? Exactly. Because guess what? If they detained her, they probably say, we're detaining you. We need to ask you some questions. Anything you say may be used against you in a court of law, X, Y, and Z. Do you need a lawyer? Isn't it standard? Doesn't everything has to be like Miranda size? Aren't they expected to do that with everybody? Can we ask Kim Kardashian, now that she's passed the baby bar, if they had a legal standing, or if she should have called a lawyer? Heck, she could have called Kim Kardashian. Y'all know Kim K passed the baby bar, right? So Kim K is on her way to be a lawyer, sugar. So even Kim K probably knows that she would have to call a lawyer. So Jen, I'm not buying it. And what's even more confusing is if Stewart is no longer working for her, and Stewart has multiple businesses, why is Stewart always driving on a computer and she's saying, make me money? What is it that really Stewart does? Because it sounded like to us and to me and for the person across the street that she's trying to get in front of Stewart and whatever's about to go down with Stewart and try to distance herself from it. Because now all of a sudden, this man who's your number one assistant that you see daily, you don't know nothing about? Come on, Jen. Come on, sis. Don't try it. I need to take a pause because she wore me out. That wore me out. So then we see Jen and Coach Shaw at the dinner table. She brought dinner home. Was it just me, or did any other Black person watching that felt some kind of way that her dinner that she brought home was a 12-piece bucket of chicken from Popeyes, red beans and rice with a side of biscuits, and some jalapeno poppers or something like that? I don't know where Popeyes sell anymore. But for me, I felt some kind of way. I know Coach Shaw likes Popeyes, but I just like, can we not have had a Popeye chicken moment with Coach Shaw at the table? But what was crazy though is, again, Coach Shaw looked disinterested as she's freaking out over here, as she's pleading her innocence to Coach Shaw, which made me then think, did Coach Shaw not know what her real job was? Did Coach Shaw not ask questions in terms of her career and where her money was coming from? And does Coach Shaw really know what's going on? But because he has his professional career as a football coach, he is trying to not act, he's trying to act like he doesn't know what's happening in his own household. Is he going to blame it because he's always on the road with football activities from recruitment and everything else? I need to know these things because it felt like Coach Shaw was like, and at the same time, Coach Shaw was also looking quite bored as well. Okay. Now, in addition to that, $1.5 million in a retainer for a lawyer that Jen Shaw needs. I don't know much about law. Maybe we need to call Kim Kardashian, but is that standard? For me, 1.5 million feels really excessive. And the fact that 1.5 million is being asked as a retainer tells me that the lawyers feel like they got a lot of work to do. And the fact that she may be guilty and they got to now pull a bunny out of the hat and a miracle out of the air. They're going to have to call on all the ancestors to try to get her off. So now she is trying to, she has to pay all this money. And I was confused. And here's why I was confused. Because she got really passionate about feeling like people weren't supporting her, her family, her friends. Coach Shaw had to double down and he got a little upset too. So this is how I know he felt passionate about this. He had to double down and let her know, my family loves you. Like my mama, my brother, my sister, my auntie, my uncle, and everybody else, they love you. And Jen made it very clear that they have taken care of Coach Shaw's family. And so now with this $1.5 million retainer, is she asking for the family to start chipping in with like a GoFundMe account to help with this retainer fee? Because I couldn't figure out where she was going with that. Or is she telling Coach Shaw, y'all, that we can't pay for your family anymore because now we need to reinvest our money into my retainer and trying to keep me out of jail? Because y'all know, and I believe in a good nip, tuck, cinch, pinch injection. The moment that Jen goes to jail, if she goes to jail, sugar, it won't be no Martha Stewart fancy kind of jail. They'll stick her in the slammer, and all of Jen would dissolve, disappear, and deflate over time. So Jen is like, I can't go to jail, y'all. And so I need to know, are you asking family members and friends to now chip into your to keep me out of jail fund? Or are you just about to discontinue support to Cherie's family to make sure you guys have the money? What y'all think? Drop it in the comments. Now, let's talk about Mary Cosby, because she's upset. The folks are thinking she's stealing the money and that she's God and it's a cult and everything else. I know this pandemic, I know that Mary's a little touch. We know Mary's a little crazy. But the fact that Mary said she has no relationship with her mother, but her relationship is with her clothes, and the fact that she had to have the organizer person, lady, come into the house to help organize, I'm starting to take issues with Mary and her fashions, aside from it being a little gaudy and all over the place. Because y'all know Mary dresses like a 90-year-old old white woman, y'all, right? Like Park Avenue type of thing. Her style is very old, and I get it because, her grandmother influence. Robert is, 30 years her senior almost. So she's a very old soul. There's a lot of old energy around her. And she kind of dresses like, I need to honor the old side, but I want to be hip. So I buy all these labels that is a little gaudy, and she wears everything at once, like a whole, salsa dip. I might be hungry. But her style is wearing me out. The fact that she has relationship with clothes tells me something, and it tells me, where are your friends? Mary Cosby, where are your friends, sugar? Do you not have any real life friends outside of the people that you pay and outside of the people that pay you in their tithes when they come to your church? Where is your friends? How is it that she's able to, thank you, Amanda, how is it she's able to spend these crazy amount of money on parties and everything else? And if you're not ripping the people off in the church, where is all this money coming from? Because she can say all day and all night she got businesses and, she was born into money, which is probably true on some level. But this opulence, this wealth would have me feeling some kind of way. And so much so that let's fast forward over to Whitney, because Whitney has now wants to take out $1 million line of credit to get her husband to co-sign for this rebranding of this brand of hers, Whitney Rose or Rose Party or something. We see this photo shoot, but now Whitney's on a personal mission. She's trying to summon all of the ancestors of Salt Lake City, all the Mormon people, plus the housewives, to take down Mary because she can't do it alone. Now, do y'all feel like Whitney's in the right here? Because obviously, like Whitney says, Mary rips her apart, and she knows she can't take on Mary straight on by herself. But my thing is, everybody else in that friend group is afraid of Mary, except Jenny. Now, if she needed to get somebody on board, she needs to start with Jenny and then go from there. Because what we can see is Jenny does not play with Mary or entertain Mary's games, and neither will Meredith, because at this point, Meredith is over her. But Lisa, Heather, and Whitney are scared of Mary Cosby. That's all I got to say. What y'all think here? Is there going to be a Mary Vinchen that we see in the future? Child, she's a whole mess. And I'm not even talking about her wig. The wig's a mess. The fashion's a mess. The foundation is casket ready gray. It's like Negro, like not Negro foundation number 9. Like her foundation is so 1930s. I can't even take it. So Mary is a whole mess. And we shall see how this continues to play out. Okay. So guys, on that note, I'm gonna wrap this up. It was great hanging out with y'all and to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh, did y'all watch? And just like that, all of my Sex and the City fans, y'all know I'm a newbie to Sex and the City, but did y'all watch the Sex and the City reboot? And just like that, what y'all think? Leave it in the comments and check out Wednesday's video for Matcha Live with me as well. Whitney needs to leave Mary alone. You think so? No, I feel like Mary is in her own way toxic too. And Whitney is saying, I can't do this anymore. And I'm tired of y'all pussyfooting around and scared of this woman. So I'm going to take it on. But I'm going to tell you, she can't do it alone. And that's why she's trying to get the alliance of the rest of the housewives to take on Mary Cosby. So we shall see if the rest of the housewives will step up to take on Mary Cosby. And on that note, guys, I got to go. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel if you like this video if you like, and leave me a comment. Most importantly, check the notifications and make sure they are turned on. Who loves you? I do. I'll see you next week for Reali-TEA. And Jeremy should be back at work, y'all. But in the meantime, have a great one. Bye, guys.